Okay, so here we have Lexi, the Husky Shepherd mix. Beautiful dog, both in looks and temperament. So this is her first time first time at inside a store. We're at Bath and Body Works, doing a little bit of shopping. Lexi presented initially with a lot of reactivity, especially towards other dogs. A lot of excitement. She would grab onto her parents, her mom and dad, jump up and grab onto them. So she is a flight dog first, and very high prey drive, such as most Huskies and many Shepherds are. Very high prey drive. But you see her here, tail's nice and down and relaxed. There's a little wag. She doesn't have her nose working overtime. Doesn't have her nose on the ground. She's very connected with me. We call that pack drive. Okay, that is her willingness to follow and to listen and look to humans, look to us for direction, which is what she's doing. She's there with me. She's not kind of off in her own land, smelling things, doing dog things. Before we take a dog out on a field trip like this, you've got to put some training in. How do they walk around? If you would put a leash on your dog and walk around the house, how does that go? Forget walking around the neighborhood. How does it go when you're walking around the house? When you stop in the kitchen, do they sit automatically? Will they sit? Do you have to trick them or treat them to get them to sit? I'm always giving direction. So if I'm gonna stop and look at something, I'm gonna give her direction to sit. Lexi generally will default to a down. She's come a long way. Her parents are really, really working on creating a standard for her of calm in the house, which translates to outside of the house. How do we create a standard of calm? We start to give her direction. We put her in positions where she's practicing calm, such as place, such as how she is in her kennel, such as how when people come over, how does she interact with them, so on and so forth. We practice calm. Calm must be practiced, both for people and for our dogs. So through all of this practicing calm and a little bit of obedience, giving her direction to sit, and really I'm just asking her to sit. Anytime she lays down, she's really laying down on her own. That's her own choice. So giving her direction, practicing calm in the house before you go on field trips, then practice in the neighborhood. If your dog isn't walking around with you nice in the house or in the neighborhood, it's not gonna be pretty if you go on a field trip out in public like this. So before we get to this stage, we've done a lot of work. Practice calm, practice these things where if you stop on the sidewalk randomly, your dog sits, or you at least give them direction to sit. So you're gonna see we're gonna head up here and check out. Again, I give her direction when we go up to the counter so that I can have a human interaction, which is paying for my items, and she's gonna lay down. She gets a little distracted and gets up, and I just bring her back, have her lay down and wait for me. Very, very simple. I am not using an electronic collar here. I'm only using verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and the leash. Those are the three forms of communication that I am using with Lexi. She is remote collar trained, electronic collar trained. She's doing wonderfully with it, and her parents really, really, really love it, how I have taught them to use it, and it's gonna open up the world for them and Lexi to be able to go out and enjoy the world and let her off leash and trust that they can still communicate with her when they need to. So again, if you want to take your dog out in public and on field trips, I recommend don't just dive into it. Don't work in the house. Attach a leash to your belt, hold on to the leash, walk around the house. Walk around, stop, have them lay down. Walk around a little bit, stop, have them lay down. That's what I'm doing in the store here. I'm walking around, I stop and look at things. I give her direction to sit, she lays down, which is great. This is not competition obedience. If I ask her to sit, I don't care if she lays down. There's nobody here deducting points because she laid down when I asked her to sit. So what I really want her is for her to just wait, just rest. I'm gonna look at things. Please just be polite and calm and wait for me. So practice in the house, practice in the neighborhood. Then when you go on a field trip somewhere, that first time you may just get out of the car, find a table or bench nearby the car, and just sit there and just watch the world go by. Have your dog lay down, have them rest, and just watch the world go by. That might be all that your dog and you can handle your first field trip. It's a lot of stimulation going on. Sights, sounds, smells, all these things can be overwhelming. So if we are just trying to move through this new environment on our field trip, that can be way overwhelming for your dog and way overwhelming for you. So sometimes it's best to go sit on a bench, put them in a position to relax, at least a sit, so that they can just watch the world go by. And every time they get up from a sit, have them sit again. And that's the exercise. And then the next time you go there, it'll be a little bit better. Now maybe you can walk around a little bit and then sit on a bench. So it doesn't have to happen all at once. We do things in stages as the dog can handle it, and we push them a little bit further every time. We don't just jump right in the deep end and expect to swim perfectly like Michael Phelps right away. So now we're headed out of the store. So again, if this is a house, there's tables, there's counters, there's furniture. We're just moving around. So practice in your house. Practice in the backyard, practice in the front yard, practice in the neighborhood. When we get to the door here, I'm going to stop and have her sit. Why? Just as a matter of practice. This is a threshold. I just want to stop before we enter a new environment and make sure that her brain downshifts for half a second. And when we go to the car here, I'm going to have her sit and wait for the door to open. This is a big thing that for Lexi that her parents have been working on. They struggled initially, but Lexi just jumping in the car with a ton of energy and jumping out of the car with even more energy. So we're really working on her impulse control and slowing her down to wait until she is invited to get in the car. So when she starts getting up, I close the door a little bit. I keep it open. I close it. If she gets up, close it. And then I have her sit. Then I reward her by opening the door. And then I can invite her into the car. There you go. Practice. Go on a field trip.